Hello everyone, this is Bloody Bananas bringing you another video. In this video we're going to showcase a team of 3 that brought me all the way up to the 29-29 MMR range. I got a 9-1 record with this team, and then I also made some mistakes in the following set, and I got a 1-4, which dropped me a lot of points back down into the mid 2800s. But I think this team is still very good, very strong. It consists of a Ninetales lead with Powder Snow, Dazzling Gleam, Weather Ball. And then we have Medicham with Counter, Psychic, and Power Punch. And then finally we have Sableye as the safe swap with Shadow Claw, Return, and Foul Play. You're double weak to Charm in the back, so sometimes you want to aggressively switch into your Sableye in order to bait out a Charmer, so that your Medicham doesn't have to face up against a Charmer in the end. I think this team is very strong. You have 3 very strong Pokemon. As you guys can see, I don't have the most optimal IVs, but I still had a lot of fun with this team, and I found a great success with this team. However, I will change my team around for my next video, but let's without further ado, let's get into the battles. We're playing against very strong battlers for the most part as well. So first game we're against Stunfisk. I like to just go into my Sableye, and they go into the Pelipper. That's generally what they have with the Stunfisk. They usually have a flyer in the back, so I want to swap into my Sableye in order to bait out the flyer, so that my Medicham doesn't have to see it. They shield up my Foul Play, and here I'm going to go for another Foul Play. But actually CMP tied here. I recognize that if I shield here, I could get another shield, and essentially my opponent will be out of shields, and I like having my opponent having no shields in the end game. That gives me a lot more play, right? So here, I come back in with my Ninetales. I'm going to try to farm a lot of energy. My opponent did farm me down, so I think I'm just going to throw right away. We get some lag. I'm going to throw the Weather Ball right away before they could do anything to me. We take out this Pelipper, which is the biggest threat to my Medicham, so now I'm going to instant swap into Medicham, and then they have a Medicham of their own. So this is pretty much game over. Because I do have a shield, and my opponent doesn't have one. All I have to do is to land the 2 Psychics in order to finish out my opponent. And I'll shield the first one just in case they Power Punch, because if I shield a Power Punch, they could actually KO me with the next Psychic, right? Here I do have to shield this Power Punch, unfortunately. Let's see, I'm going to go for my own Power Punch, and then I think 1 more counter or 2 will KO this Medicham before they get to another move. Okay, so here we see the Stunfisk coming back in. I'm ramped up. This is the second Power Punch, so I think I'm going to stay and do a little bit more damage. Yep, and now I essentially put it in within Weather Ball range, 2 Weather Ball range, but unfortunately I didn't have no shields remaining, so that turned out to be a GG for my opponent. Unfortunately, first game, I think a mistake there was not shielding the Psychic, but then again, if I do shield the Power Punch bait, the next Psychic will kill my Medicham, and then it will be a game over as well, right? So it's a hard call, and a lot of those 50-50 calls can really decide a game around here. So again, we see another Galarian Stunfisk back to back, and then our Sableye safe swap draw out a Pelipper yet again. Oh god, you guys are gonna see so many Galarian Stunfisk leads. It's actually kind of ridiculous how many of there are, but let's see. I'm gonna play out very similarly. I got a shield. I'm gonna shield once and then try to get 1 more shield for my opponent, because if they don't shield, I could regain switch advantage here. Let's see, my opponent shields, so this time my opponent doesn't shield. That means I regain switch advantage. We both have 1 shield, but I will gladly take the switch advantage because Medicham will be very, very good against Galarian Stunfisk, right? They come back in with the Meganium, and I do have a low Ninetales. So essentially, this game was already decided because we have a very good counter to this to this Meganium, and we have very good counter against their Stunfisk. And there's pretty much nothing my opponent can do here because they lost switch advantage. I think if my opponent came in with a Meganium instead of the Pelipper, then this game would be a very different story. But fortunately, my opponent gave up switch advantage so that I could have the perfect lineup. And yeah, and that's pretty much it, the story of this game. Just gaining switch advantage, and then line up your Pokemon against the counters, or line up your hard counters against their Pokemon, and then that's pretty much game over. Here we're against another Galarian Stunfisk. Yep, we're against another Galarian Stunfisk. I'm gonna make the same play, going to my Sableye. This time they have a Tropius in the back. This makes me think if they have a Pelipper again in the back, this could be a double flyer team, right? But we'll see. My opponent got an Air Slash and they got a move. That was a little bit weird, but that's been happening a lot in recently in this game. So here I'm gonna go for another foul play. We did get a shield, so it's still looking pretty okay for me. If they farm me down, that would be pretty bad. But fortunately, they throw their energy, so I could get a pretty good jump start with energy on my Ninetales, and this will be very important, getting this extra energy. I could survive a Leaf Blade very easily with my Ninetales. And then I have a lot of energy. Weather Ball hits neutral against the Galarian Stunfisk, so I still have some play. I'm going to store that energy and then go into my Medicham, just see what they have in the back. They do have a Pelipper in the back. I'm going to shield once, and then I'm going to go for straight Psychic. If I get a shield here, that would be pretty okay, because that means I have a shield in the end game. But if they don't shield, I think I could actually farm it down. I could shield once and farm it down, I believe. Or actually, I tank it. Okay, I think I like this play. Okay, so I recognize that I could survive it. And then I go for Power Punches. I farm down the Pelipper, and I go for the Power Punches against the Stunfisk. That was actually a CMP tie. And they have a Rock Slide here. I'm just going to let it go. I do have a lot of energy. I just need to land 2 Weather Balls in order to KO this Galarian Stunfisk. And I know that my opponent doesn't have much energy here because they just threw the Rock Slide, right? And all I need is 2 more Powder Snows here. 1 more Powder Snow and get to the next Weather Ball, and it should be enough to KO this Galarian Stunfisk, and it will be a good game. So as you guys can see, we got hard countered in the lead and pretty countered in the safe swap because Tropius does beat Sableye, but and then they have a Pelipper against my Medicham, but we were still able to take that game. Very close one. Here we're against a Politoed. I like to swap into my Sableye safe swap yet again. Because the Politoed resists everything from my Ninetales, right? I don't like staying in that matchup. Here I just go into the Sableye. I don't shield the first Weather Ball from the Politoed. They also don't shield my foul play, but I think I will shield this one because I recognize that I will get to the next foul play before they get to the next Weather Ball. They're actually coming with Scrafty. That means I'm going to go for the return. Because they double resist the foul play, which means the foul play will not do a lot of damage. They go for... That was actually a CMP tie. I believe this is just going to be a... Oh, I thought it was going to be a Power Punch. But foul play, that is very, very good. That we got the CMP. That means I could pretty much farm this Scrafty all the way down. They go for a Power Punch. And I just need to take out the Scrafty in 4 more Powder Snows, or 5 more, just before they get to the next Power Punch, because it's 5 counters for 1 Power Punch, right? And I imagine they come back in with the Politoed. I'm gonna go for this Weather Ball, which will almost KO, but I don't think it's enough. I should save this energy. I think this might be a misplay because I don't really need to throw all my energy here. It's very inefficient, but we did use the energy there. Here I'm gonna throw this Weather Ball against Skarmory. Okay, because we have Power Punch, this matchup is not as bad as you may think. Because all we need to do is ramping up our counter damage. The counter does hit for neutral because they're flying and steel typing, right? I'm just gonna keep ramping this up. Eventually they have to shield. If they don't shield, I think I can just counter down. Here, because they're throwing energy, I could just save this shield and then safely get to a weathable here with my Ninetales, and that should be game over. Yep. So all we need to do is safely get to this weather ball, and that's the end of that game. Next up, will we see another Glaring Stunfisk? Azumarill, okay. Azumarill is also pretty tough for this team, because your back Pokemon are pretty weak to Azumarill, and the Alolan Ninetales does not beat Azumarill, right? I think what I'm going to do is go for straight Dazzling Gleam. Could arguably run Psyshock for this matchup as well. Psyshock is a little bit faster, and if they do shield Dazzling Gleam like that, that's a lot of energy wasted for the Alolan Ninetales. They go for a second Play Rough. We did shield the first one, but one Play Rough doesn't KO. And then I'm going to go for another Dazzling Gleam. I want to put this Azumarill into farm down range. I think I should... Okay, they shield again. Because they shield, I actually go into my Sableye. Because without shields, Azumarill will die to a return and a few extra Shadow Claws, right? So I figured I would just get an energy start. They tried to catch my move, and they came out with the Cresselia. But because they failed to catch my move, I can overfarm a lot of energy. Before they get to the Moonblast, I throw 2 Foul Plays, and this should KO the Cresselia. So essentially, we got a Cresselia down for free. And then they came back in with Azumarill. Because we overfarmed against the Cresselia, we actually reached this return to KO this Azumarill. And then they had a Marowak in the back, which loses pretty hard to my Sableye. So they gave up the match. That just goes to show the power of Sableye. Pretty much sweep their entire team. Here against Shadow Abomasnow, it's a relatively good matchup because we do resist the ice type moves. My opponent actually baits here. I wanted to shield an energy ball, but we're gonna be very spammy with our weather balls as well to hit back against this Abomasnow. Let's see if we get a shield here. We do get a shield, and then my opponent goes for another move. I may shield this energy ball, or I may just let it go down. Okay, I don't shield that. I actually reached the weather ball anyways, so now I'm gonna force a shield or I take Switch Advantage, both of which are fine with me. So they came in with Azumarill. I'm thinking they have a Sableye in the back, because it's a very common team: Abomasnow, Sableye, and Azumarill. That's why I'm gonna come in with Medicham, because Medicham is very, very bad against a Sableye in the back, right? That's why I want to save my Sableye, just in case they have a Sableye of their own. Let's see. They go for a Play Rough here, I think. An Ice Beam, so they don't have a Play Rough. And there it is, the Sableye that we anticipated. Good thing that we have a Sableye of our own, otherwise we would be in a pretty terrible spot. Here, I'm going to tank a Foul Play, because I think I'm going to get to 2 Foul Plays anyways. So I don't need to shield the first one. Yep, and then I'm going to go for the second one. My opponent gets to a move here. I have to shield this because my Medicham doesn't have much play against the Sableye. And here we go for the Foul Play, which should take out their Sableye. And our Sableye is also very close to dying. And now it's a race to the Psychic against their Ice Beam. And we do get to the Psychic, which should KO this Azumarill at this range. And it does, so that's game over. Very close game, very close game. Next up, we have Alolan Ninetales versus Umbreon, which is a good matchup. We resist the Snarls and we resist Foul Plays. But it's still not the easiest matchup, just because Umbreon is very, very bulky, has very good stats. So as crazy as that sounds, we could potentially lose this matchup depending on how we play this. So I go for Dazzling Gleam. They do shield it, and they got a Snarl, and then they got a move. I'm not sure what happened there, but I'm actually gonna match the shields, but I don't think I will shield the next one. I'll go for a Dazzling Gleam here. We'll also do a lot of damage if my opponent doesn't shield. I'm gonna wait for my opponent to throw some energy. Okay, so now they're at 0 shields. I think I would just let my Ninetales go. I might swap into my Sableye. Okay, they swap into a Psychic type, and I'm just gonna blind swap into the Sableye because I saw on the top right that they came in with the Psychic type, right? I'm gonna tank the first Thunder Punch, and then in 3 more confusions, which is when they get to the second Thunder Punch, I'm gonna throw this Foul Play to force the CMP tie, so we can maximize on our energy gain. And I imagine that they're gonna come back in with a Umbreon. So here, I'm thinking they might have another Psychic Pokemon or another Pokemon that's weak to Sableye, because they're aggressively swapped out. So this makes me want to preserve my Sableye here, just because I'm guessing that they have another Psychic Pokemon in the back. Because otherwise I wouldn't see why they want to aggressively swap into a Psychic Pokemon in there. But let's see. It's actually just an Azumarill, so my guess was wrong. But I think we're still okay because we did catch the Foul Play on the Medicham. And now we can force this Azumarill to throw some energy, otherwise we're going to get to the Psychic and take this Azumarill out. Essentially, their Azumarill is the only Pokemon they have, right? So definitely they want to preserve it. Here, I'm very close to the return, so I just come back in with my Sableye and get to the return. And then I think I have, and then I'm just going to force my the opponent Umbreon to throw, or I just Shadow Claw it down. To ensure the victory. Here we actually against a legend player who already got to legend. Very, very incredible player, probably. I think I played him a lot before as well. Very, very strong. Here I'm gonna, again against Azumarill, I like to go for straight Dazzling Gleam, just to see what my opponent likes to do. Okay, so he no shields. I think I'm gonna shield this one, just to shield a Hydro Pump. It's actually just a Play Rough. So I didn't need to shield there. I do survive 1 Play Rough, which means I'm not going to shield this one. And then I'm going to go for a Dazzling Gleam. Actually, they come out with Electros, which is like a new Pokemon that just got Electric. Okay. I didn't know what this Pokemon was, but I'm just going to come in with my Medicham. I actually have no idea what this Pokemon learns. Electric. He learns Electric. He knows Discharge and Dragon Claw, I think, but he just hits me with the 2 Discharges. They come back in with Azumarill. I do have a lot of energy stored on the Ninetales, so I always keep track of that. They come back in with Azumarill, and then they go into Amoga, and we got to the Psychic, which is really huge for me. It forces another shield. And I have almost 2 Weather Ball here, so I'm just going to go for a double Weather Ball in order to take out this Amoga. So my opponent had a double Electric team, which is pretty awesome. He already hit Legend, right? So he doesn't need to use those meta try-hard Pokemon anymore, which is really, really awesome. But pretty much this is game over. I have a shield of full health Sableye, and they have a Azumarill that dies to 1 Shadow Claw. So good game to my opponent. Really awesome team. Here we're against Skullhund. I have Ninetales against Medicham. This is actually not the greatest lead, depending on if you can land a Dazzling Gleam. I think I might just go for a straight Weather Ball. Also, I need to be wary of the Psychic, which will almost 1-hit KO. That's why I shield the first one. Then my opponent swaps out into Azumarill. Again, I don't have a good answer to Azumarill, so I'm going to stay in and try to chip it down with my Dazzling Gleam here. Let's see, I do get another Dazzling Gleam. The thing is, I can't really swap out here because all my back Pokemon are weak to Azumarill Play Roughs. But they throw energy here. That means I can farm it down with either Sableye or Medicham. I'm going to farm it down with my Medicham. And then they come back in with the Medicham, which is fine with me. I'm I'm gonna go for the Psychic. I get a shield from my opponent, which is awesome. And I'll try to catch a Psychic, but we weren't able to do it, which is a little bit unfortunate. They actually had a Ferrothorn in the back, which is actually fine because I could either get a shield or I take this out. If I take this out, the extra Shadow Claw damage from my Sableye will definitely chip down the opponent Medicham by a lot, right? So they actually no shield that, and that means I can just safely let my Sableye go. They still have a shield, but I'm gonna do a lot of chip damage here with my Sableye. They're almost within just counter down range, so I'm just gonna go for a Power Punch here. I don't think my opponent can get to a Power Punch bait and a Psychic. Let's see. I do have to respect the Psychic. They did throw a Power Punch, so the Psychic will pretty much KO my Medicham, right? And here we get to the last Power Punch to finish up my opponent Medicham. And I think this concludes the 5-0 match that I did. And I hit a rating of 29-29 after this game. But unfortunately, in this set, you guys are about to see, I make tons of mistakes, but we're going to discuss all these misplays so that we can learn from them, and then we can play better next time we face in a similar situation. Here, we're going to Stunfisk. Again, I like to go into my Sableye, right, just to see what they have in the back. Actually, this might be the 5th game of that 5-0 set. We'll see. I actually no-shield the Rock Slide because I counted only up to 6 Must Shots, so I knew that couldn't possibly be an Earthquake, right? And then we're against Venusaur. I go for the Foul Play first. They shield the first Foul Play. That means I could actually get to the return, and the return will almost one-hit KO right here if my opponent doesn't shield. My opponent might think this is another Foul Play, which they survive, so that they let it go, and we won switch advantage with Sableye. And it was even shield scenario as well, so that's really awesome. Yeah, I think this is actually the 5th game of the same set. Let's see. They throw this Rock Slide right away, which is really good for me. And then I have perfect lineup here. We have a Medicham, and I have a Dribbling in the back, so this is pretty much game over. Because we won switch advantage, we have essentially perfect alignment here. They really have no answer for my Sableye here. I actually no shield this because Shadow Ball actually doesn't KO a lot of Ninetales from that range, and my opponent gives up. So yeah, I think that was actually the 5th game, so that was a 5-0. But here we're gonna make a ton of misplays, and we're gonna see here. Let's see. Okay, mirror match. I like to go for a Dazzling Gleam. I think my opponent did an extra Powder Snow, which is a little bit unfortunate. But we did get to this Dazzling Gleam. My opponent shields. I'm gonna no shield this one because we got their shield. I figured that maybe I didn't need to shield this. They went for the Psyshock, which is also a very good option for the mirror match. I should probably shield this because this is another Psyshock, but I don't shield this. And I preserve my Ninetales with a little bit of energy. That's a weird play. I think maybe I should just let it go down and then farm it down. But then they came out with Politoed. Now I'm thinking this might be a double water team. And they like to have Jellicent or Azumarill in the back as part of the double water team. Both of which are bad for me. So I need to preserve the Sableye at all cost, right? I'm going to go for this Foul Play. It probably forces shield from my opponent. I need to preserve the Sableye. Okay, my opponent doesn't shield. Let's see what they have in the back. If it's a Jellicent, I need the Sableye, right? They came back in with the Ninetales. I need to get out of this matchup. I need to shield here as well, I think. I know shield is... Okay, this could be the worst mistake. Because I'm thinking they might have a Water type, but it actually turned out just to be a Sableye. Which again, I need my own Sableye for, right? If I don't have my own Sableye, I can't take out my opponent's Sableye. Because I have pretty much 0 health on my on Ninetales. So I think that was the biggest mistake of this game, not preserving my Sableye. Because I think there are only a couple options my opponent could have in the back there. and basically I misread their team. At the time, I probably didn't think through what team comp they could have. If I had a foul play there, I would have won this game because I have a weather ball stored on the Ninetales. I could get the last shield, and then I would get the foul play off on their opponent's Sableye to win that game. Okay, here we're against the Azumarill. Again, I like to go for straight Dazzling Gleam. Let's take a look here. Okay, my opponent no shields. I'm gonna shield the first one in case it's a Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump will do a lot of damage. Yep. And then I'm gonna over farm. Before they get to the next Hydro Pump, I'm gonna throw the energy, which is around here. I think this is when they get to the play rough. But I'm gonna throw this energy. We either get a shield, or we take it out. We get a shield. I need to throw that weather ball right there. That was a huge mistake. Because I didn't throw the weather ball, I can't force my opponent to shield now. I'm going to overfarm. I'm going to go for this weather ball. That is very, very bad play by me, that I didn't throw the weather ball a little earlier. And they come back in with Marowak. So if only we had one extra shield. So I needed to throw the weather ball as soon as possible. That way we could either force a shield or we get the Azumarill much, much lower. And switch advantage would be so much better for me. But now, also I aggressively swap into my Sableye, which doesn't make any sense, right? Because they still had a, I aggressively swap into my Sableye against their Alolan Marowak, but my Alolan Marowak, my only counter is my Sableye. And here I go for a CMP. I overfarm way too much and go for a CMP. And this is pretty much game over. My team is actually very weak against Marowak. My Sableye is the only thing that can fight back against a Marowak. But that was a very, very bad play by me. But that's fine. We're going to learn for the next game. I need to throw the energy there. Here we're against a Hypno. Let's see how we mess up this game. I think I might just let my Ninetales go down. Oh, I try to catch a move. It's a fancy play. I save all the energy on my Ninetales, catch a Fire Punch, so I don't have to give up a shield. They come back in with Tropius. It's actually very good so far, because we do bait out. Their Flyer. That means my Medicham doesn't have to see this. Let's see. They go for a Leaf Blade, which will almost KO me. Here I'm going to overfarm. I think I'm going to farm 3 Powder Snows and then throw the Weather Ball on the CMP tie. Yep, so this is when they get to the Leaf Blade. I'm going to throw this Weather Ball to KO so they don't get to that move. And then let's see what they have in the back. Or do they come back in with... they actually come back in with the Stunfisk that they had in the back. So they didn't come back in with the Hypno. They probably expected that we have a fighter in the back, which is a very smart play. I'm going to catch a Rock Slide here on my Medicham, which is essentially wasted damage, energy from my opponent. Here they have a Hypno here. I think I should throw my Psychics right away. I will shield the first move, but I think the correct play here is just to let my Medicham go down, and then sweep the end game with my Ninetales. Here we lose CMP against Hypno, and I go for another shield. Oh my god, this is actually really, really, really terrible play by me. If I had just saved all my shields for my Alolan Ninetales, I could have probably farmed down the Hypno and then get to a lot of Weather Balls against this Stunfisk, and then I would be in such better situation here. And also I stayed in way too long. If I just swapped out into my Alolan Ninetales, I just needed one more Powder Snow. I really should not have stayed in that long. I should have gotten out of that matchup right away. And now my opponent's going to must-shot me all the way down after throwing the Rock Slide to finish on my Ninetales. That is a huge misplay by me. Here, we land a good matchup. Actually a good lead. So, they go into the Deoxys, I go into my Sableye, and my opponent decides to surrender. Okay, so that was a close game. I think that was the only win we got in this set. which is a little bit unfortunate. Let's see. Okay, again, another Azumarill, which is not a great lead at all. Not a great lead. I'm gonna play the same way I do every time, which is go for the Dazzling Gleam right away. It does around half health, 45%. Yeah, so Azumarill is still very healthy. I'm gonna shield the first one in case of the Hydro Pump again. And then I should probably go for Dazzling Gleam right now to force a shield. I could also debatably bait it there. Yeah, so my opponent shields. And I might just let this go. Throw the Weather Ball. Oh, I make the same misplay as the game 2 games ago. I really should force those Weather Ball pressure to make my opponent shield or get it low. I think I make another huge mistake here. I think oh, okay, never mind. I kept track of their counting, so I know they only have the Ice Beam. They go into their own Sableye, and this is not a good sign for me because my Sableye is really low, and even if I give up a shield here, I have to shield this because my Medicham cannot see this Sableye, right? I need to shield there, and I go for a foul play here. I have to take out this opponent. I have to take this out, and then let's see what they have in the back. This is looking really, really rough. They had a little Marowak in the back, so it's Azumarill double Ghost line, which is actually a pretty common team. But my team pretty much has no play against this team because they have very good counter against my Medicham all the way through. So my Medicham pretty much doesn't have anything to do. My opponent actually gives me a win condition here, kind of, by making me farm down with the Medicham. So if I had a move stored with my Sableye, I could probably win here, but or if I had a shield. But unfortunately, I think my opponent is gonna take this game. And that concludes a 1-4 set right after a 9-1 run with this team. But overall, I still had a ton of fun with this team. I think this team has a lot of play against the meta. It's also kind of an expensive line with the Sableye and Medicham in the back. But they're not the best IVs, so they didn't cost me that much dust or candies. Yeah, I think I'm going to continue the grind with the different line. And then I'll make sure to keep you guys updated on my road to legend this season. And yeah, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in my next video.